Hey, Shalom, Israel. I'm going to start off source by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakak double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth, while sincerity. I'm going to start off with Zechariah 14 and 12, right? It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that are fought against Jerusalem, right? And you read Psalms 83rd chapter, that's basically all the, that's all the heathen nations, man. Right, it says Psalms 83 says, and 2 says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, right? And they that hate thee have lifted up their head, right? They have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that has been fulfilled, right? The real children of Israel, Negroes, Native Americans, Hispanics, and all the children of Israel scattered throughout the earth. They don't go around calling themselves the Israelites. In fact, we have the sign, and people will be like, "Oh, wait, that means I'm this," or "Nah, you ain't the Israelites," or whatever. That's up for debate. The majority of the world believes that people of then the land of Israel are the real Jews, right? So we know that this is we know that this has come to pass, right? Because we ain't a nation anymore. So why this is the worst captivity we've ever been in, right? So for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur is also joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, right? You can see that. That's a quick example. These nations basically have come together. So when it's talking about all that have all the people that have fought against Jerusalem, that's basically all these heathen nations, man. Right? It says their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, right? And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, right? So and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So what's the only thing that has the ability to make that happen, for that to happen, for your flesh to consume away while you stand, or your eyes to, and that now really there is the point, right? Because all of these are the eyes consume away in their holes and tongues consume away in their mouth. That can happen. That can happen in other, in other scenarios. This is on their feet. That gives you the that helps you understand that it's something that happens like that, just as a click of thing. And if you think of, Terminator 2 with Sarah Connor at the cage, right? You basically have that wall of fire coming, and that happens to her. Her flesh consumes away, as she's standing on her feet, right? Her eyes in the holes, etc., 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 right? So this is talking about that nuclear fire, that ICBM nuclear fire, right? That's coming that's coming on the earth, to deal with, the heathen nations, the heathens, and to deal with, the wicked of Israel, right? Because you read the scriptures, it says in Zechariah 13 and 8, right? It's like my laptop's getting old and slow, right? It says, and it shall come to pass, right, that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein, right? So that, here you can see that word land there, it's singular, right? And that land is talking about the land of America, right? So it says, and it shall come to pass that, and also in all of America, serve Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. So two-thirds of Israel, of then the land of America, are gonna be cut off, right? The Lord's gonna get rid of them, right? Because we've called, but they have not hearkened. We've bid them to the marriage, and they didn't want to come. So the Lord is gonna deal with them, right? So that's that. So read 2 Peter 3 and 10 says, but the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, right? So the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up, right? So it says the elements shall melt with fervent heat, right? which the heaven shall pass with great noise. Once again, it's talking about the ICBMs, right? It's talking about the ICBMs coming. Breaking down the hitting America, destroying the land of America completely. This is what we're going to get into in the next scripture, right? But that's how the Lord's coming back. The Lord, people will come up to camp. Oh, when's this all gonna happen then? It's like, we don't know, right? Because Scripture says no man knoweth the hour, and here it says the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, right? You read some of the parables speaks about if the servant knew that the thief was coming, wouldn't he have stayed up? And that's these people, right? If they knew the day that the Lord was coming back, they would all they would all be wicked up until the hour before, and then they're gonna become righteous, right? But the day of the Lord, that's coming with with destruction, man. Right? These ICBMs, that's one of the things that are gonna be coming as well, right? This is Jeremiah 50, start from verse 9. It says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. And that north country there is talking about Russia, right? It says, and they shall set themselves in array against her, right? From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. Once again, that's allegorical for these ICBMs, because no one uses arrows anymore. Right, and here's the point: none shall return in vain. So, those ICBMs are gonna hit their target. Right, it says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded. That's talking about England, right? Because because America came out of England. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness, right? A dry land and a desert, right? So basically saying, hey, that there's going to be destruction there, right? It says, because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. So basically saying that the land of America is going to be completely destroyed to the point where no one's going to live there ever again, right? Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues, right? Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, right? Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh, right? So I'm basically saying all these nations, right, should basically take their should basically take their nuclear weaponry, right, and they should shoot at America, right? And it says, all ye that bend the bow. So that's allies as enemies, right? It talks about assembly from the north, assembly of great nations from the north country, right? So that's Russia. Russia's an enemy. Then it says, all ye that bend the bow. Does not Germany bend the bow? Right? Does not England bend the bow? Right, you read, was it Revelation 17? It talks about, let me get that. What's the word in? These shall hate. Revelation 17:16 says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, right, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right, so basically talking about America's allies. Right, they're gonna they're gonna turn on America. Right, they're gonna hate the whore, right, and then they're gonna shoot their ICBMs, right, and burn America with fire through the ICBMs, right. So then you ask yourself, right, so how are we gonna escape? Right, you got all of these ICBMs flying all over the world, right? How are we gonna escape? Right, this is Revelation 15:2 says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, right? And them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High, right? So basically that sea of glass mingled with fire, right? That's talking about the firmament, right? And, you're going to be having the nuclear fire over there, and the children of Israel will basically be in the chariots, the elect, those that have been saved will be in the chariots watching the destruction, right? And that's the only way you can escape. I remember, telling some guy the truth, and was breaking certain things down, and then he was like, "So wait, how you gonna make it, right? How you gonna make it? How you gonna survive a nuclear strike on London?" Right? You read Second Ezra's at the 15th chapter says this: because the pride of the cities, because of their pride, the cities shall be destroyed. Right? So how you gonna make it, man? Well, I'm gonna make it through these chariots, but being beamed up, right? It says yeah, so I'll get this as well. Isaiah 66:15 says, "For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebukes with flames of fire." So right, when the Lord comes back, he's coming to save, but he's also coming to destroy. Right, he's coming to what do you call it, to the chariots, and hey, it's gonna chariots are gonna be used as a killing instrument. Now let's get that in Second Ezra, the 13th chapter. Where is that? Cool. That's right at the top. Right, sorry. Second Ezra 13, and start from verse 3. It says, "And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire." Right, so that's those beams coming out of the chariot, right? Chariot is going to be, going to have that, that fire, those laser beams. And it says, "And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place wherewith the hill was graven, and I could not." So this chariot was massive, right? This chariot was massive. Like, he couldn't see the, what do you call it? He basically couldn't see its boundaries, right? It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests." Right, so once again speaking about, it was laser beams, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon the sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Right, so this is it's talking about Yahushua coming back and basically destroying, these armies, man. They're gonna try to fight against the Lord. The Lord's just gonna dust them off. Right, how you gonna fight against the Lord? But it goes on here. Verse 8, it says they were so afraid, and yet does fight. That's that pride, thinking that you can fight against the Lord, right? So it's twofold. These chariots, the chariots of Israel, they're coming back to save and to destroy, right? This is Psalm 68:17 says, "The chariots of the Most High 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place." Right? It's talking about the chariots. This is 1 Thessalonians 4:16. It says, "For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise first." Right, so all the men that have died in the Lord, King Marshal, Elder Abba Vivens, right? That all the men that have died in this truth. It's like I forgot certain names, right? They're all going to be raised up first, man. Elder Yaquab, right? They're all going to be raised up first, man. Right? The Lord is gonna, what you call it? Is gonna what am I saying? It's just like my bird mind just blanked out. Forgive me. But yeah. So I was saying, the Lord is basically gonna bring those men back, right? They're gonna rise. They're gonna be in them chariots, man. Right? It says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Right? Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Right? So those that are chosen for salvation, right? They're gonna be beamed up into them chariots, into them clouds. That's the allegory. That's why I use the word clouds, right? They're gonna be beamed up into the chariots, right? And then they're gonna be saved that way, right? Which is why the scriptures then go and say, "Wherefore comfort one another with these words," because if you can't survive this destruction, man. You can't run away from a nuclear missile. You can't run away from that nuclear wind, right? It's designed to destroy this earth, man. I mean, not the entire earth, but it's designed to destroy the entirety of America, right? And it's designed to basically cleanse the world wherever they hit, right? This is Revelation 1 and in fact Acts 1 and 9, right? As to Lambach or 1 Thessalonians, right? It says, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and the cloud received him out of their sight. So this is when Yahushua basically leaves the apostles, right? He says, and the cloud received him out of their sight. What is it? That tractor beam. He got he got beamed up. It says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua which is taken from you into heaven shall come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Right? So basically they saw Yahushua beamed up, and then they were told, look, why are you gazing up, man? Why you see him come, you see him go up. That's the same way he's going to come back. He's going to come from the skies, man. He's going to come in a chariot, right? This is Revelations 1 and 7. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And just once again, Yahushua, how Yahushua is going to come back, right? It says, and they also which pierced him. So that's going into reincarnation now, right? Because the scripture is all about reincarnation, right? It says, and all kindreds of the earth shall well because of him, even so, amen. So yeah, like I just wanted to get into that, the fact that, hey, we can't escape this destruction, lest it be for the chariots of Israel, right? So Lord's will, that's been edifying. Until the next time, I say shalom.